Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. I know it's Tag Tuesday, and I have been tagged in videos that I gotta get caught up on, but I could not contain my excitement, and I wanted to share with you some new books that I got in the mail yesterday and then last Friday. And it would have been after I made my Friday reads, but or else I would have included it. But I've got 5 books. As I told you last week, I'd had a birthday, and I had went to St. Joe, bought some used books, but I also got some birthday money that I was able to go online and buy some titles that I normally probably wouldn't find in the used bookstore just yet because they're too new. And it was kind of a deal with my wife. I guess I need to give a little backstory. First of all, my wife's always, getting on me a little bit about how many books I've got and do we have room in the house. I know a lot of you go through that same battle. Do you have enough room? And so part of the compromise was that when I got my birthday money, I wasn't going to buy, like 15 different titles of books that are real cheap. So what I did was I took my birthday money and I ended up buying some more expensive titles, some newer books, really, for the most part anyway. And I kind of splurged. I spent more than I normally do because I usually don't spend a lot. And so anyway, I went and bought some books, and I had a whole bunch of them come in yesterday, or I guess 4 of them came in yesterday, and then 1 last Friday. So I wanted to share those with you. So the first book that I got that I'm real excited about is H.W. Brands' new book, The Zealot and the Emancipator, John Brown, Abraham Lincoln, and the Struggle for American Freedom. And this is just, I love the color of this cover. It's kind of dark, but it's really pretty. And I've been real excited for this book since I heard it was coming out several months back. Let me read the cover to you. So John Brown was a charismatic and deeply religious man who heard the God of the Old Testament speaking to him, telling him to destroy slavery by any means. When Congress opened Kansas territory to slavery in 1854, Brown raised a band of followers to wage war. His men tore pro-slavery settlers from their homes and hacked them to death with broadswords. 3 years later, Brown and his men assaulted the federal arsenal at Harper's Ferry, Virginia, hoping to arm slaves with weapons for a race war that would cleanse the nation of slavery. Brown's violence pointed ambitious Illinois lawyer and former office holder Abraham Lincoln toward a different solution to slavery: politics. Lincoln spoke cautiously and dreamed big, plotting his path back to Washington and perhaps to the White House. Yet his caution could not protect him from the vortex of violence Brown had set in motion. After Brown's arrest, his righteous dignity on the way to the gallows led many in the North to see him as a martyr to liberty. Southerners responded with anger and horror to a terrorist being made into a saint. Lincoln shrewdly threaded the needle between the opposing voices of the fractured nation and won election as president. But the time for moderation had passed, and Lincoln's fervent belief that democracy could resolve its moral crisis peacefully faced its ultimate test. The Zealot and the Emancipator is acclaimed historian H.W. Brands' thrilling and page-turning account of how 2 American giants shaped the war for freedom. And so I'm real excited about that. It's a real pretty book. You can see the end pages there. You got some maps, obviously some pictures in the middle. There's John Brown right there, Dred Scott, Roger Taney, and of course some other ones. There's Frederick Douglass. So some real good pictures in the middle. And there's the 2 men. There's John Brown and Abe Lincoln. And of course, H.W. Brands' books are always page turners. He's an excellent, excellent storyteller. He's one of my favorite authors of all time. Absolutely love his stuff. So I was real excited to get this because it's H.W. Brands and it's got some Lincoln in it. And so you can't go wrong with that. That's a pretty good combination. Now, the next book that I picked up, I have been wanting for quite a long time. It's called The Field of Blood, Violence in Congress and the Road to Civil War by Joanne B. Freeman. And this book is by Joanne Freeman, and I listened to her on iTunes University, and then she's also on YouTube because she teaches at Yale, and so her classes, you can watch her classes for free. She's an excellent teacher, very, very good storyteller. I just enjoy listening to her, and when I found out that she wrote this book, I wanted to get my hands on it. And then earlier this summer, I read The Caning, which was, about some violence in Congress. And so I set my mind to getting this book because this is going to go right along with The Caning, and I enjoyed that book. That one was by I'm going blank on his name, Stephen Puleo. But I really enjoy her teaching. Let's read through the inside cover on this one. So in The Field of Blood, the historian Joanne B. Freeman offers a new and dramatically rendered portrait of American politics in its rowdiest years. Drawing on an extraordinary range of sources, she shows that today's hyperpolarized environment cannot compare with the turbulent atmosphere of the decades before the Civil War, when the United States Congress itself was rife with conflict. Legislative sessions were routinely punctuated by mortal threats, canings, flip desks, and all-out slugfests. Congressmen drew pistols and waved bowie knives at rivals. One representative even killed another in a duel. Many were bullied in an attempt to intimidate them into compliance or silence, particularly on the issue of slavery. These fights didn't happen in a vacuum. Freeman's accounts of fistfights and threats tell a larger story of how bullying, brawling, and the press, and the powerful emotions they elicited, raised tensions between the North and South and fueled the coming of the war. In the process, she brings the antebellum Congress to life, revealing its rough realities, the feel, the sense, and the sound of it, as well as its nation-shaping import. Funny, tragic, and rivetingly told, The Field of Blood offers a front-row view of congressional mayhem and sheds new light on the careers of luminaries such as John Quincy Adams and Thomas Hart Benton, as well as introducing a host of lesser-known but no less fascinating characters. We see slaveholders silence Northerners with threats and violence. We learn how newspapers promoted conspiracy theories that helped polarize the nation, and we witness an entire legislative chamber erupt into a massive fist-throwing, spittoon-tossing battle royale. By 1860, armed congressmen, some carrying pistols, sent their constituents, fully expected bloody combat in the House. In effect, the first battles of the Civil War were fought in Congress itself. The Field of Blood demonstrates how a country can come apart as conflicts over personal honor, party loyalty, and moral principle combine and escalate. The result is a fresh understanding of the workings of American democracy and the bonds of union on the eve of the greatest peril. So I'm really looking forward to this book. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. As I said, Joanna Freeman, and there's a picture of her, teaches at Yale, and I thoroughly enjoy listening to her teach. This is a couple years old. This book is, 2018. So it's a couple years old, where the H.W. Brands came out just a few days ago. This one comes from Farrar, Straus, and Giroux out of New York. The pictures on the inside are all black and white. They don't have the full color thing, but they've got them throughout, is what I've noticed. And so I really look forward to that. She's a good storyteller as well. Now, the next two books I got were probably fueled by BookTube itself. As I talked about when I first got onto BookTube and I started expressing my interests in reading and telling readers what I liked, I kept getting the constant question, have you read Alan Nevins's Civil War series? And I was like, well, it's on my book list. It's been on my book list for a long time, but it never, for whatever reason, it never went to the top of the list. And I kept getting that comment over and over and over again. So I made it a point to buy that series. And the problem was it was really expensive. I wanted the hardbound old copies, and all the spines all matched, and the whole series of books was kind of color coordinated, because he did 2 books on the antebellum period, 2 books on Lincoln, and then 4 books on the Civil War. And so you had like 3 different colors used for each section of the series, and the books would have looked really sharp on the shelf. The only problem was I found them for about $70 at one point, and it was typically about $80. And I couldn't bring myself to pull the trigger, because I don't spend a lot of money on my books. I buy a lot of books, but they're not for, I just don't spend a lot on each individual title. And so I couldn't get myself to pull the trigger. And then by the time I finally decided, okay, I'm going to do this, they were all gone, of course. And so when I got my birthday money, I went to look again, and it was $230 was the cheapest I could find for the entire set. And maybe there was places where I couldn't find, or that I wasn't looking, but where I was looking at Amazon. It was $230 for that whole set, and there's no way I could spend that much on that few of books. And so what I did was I found this whole series from Collier Books. They were reprinted, the Alan Nevins series, and they basically did 2 volumes per book. So instead of 8 books, it's in 4 volumes, 4 books. And I pulled the trigger and I got them. And I spent about $50 for all 4 of these books, which is probably way more than I normally spend. But because of BookTube, because of all of you, I think it's going to be worth it, because I'm going on your guys' recommendations that I needed to read this. And so that'll give me 2 series on the Civil War, the Shelby Foote series, which I had been trying to find. I just couldn't find it used, and I found that earlier this summer. Got a really good deal on that. And then this Ordeal of the Union by Alan Nevins. So yesterday in the mail, I got Volume 1, which consists of Fruits of Manifest Destiny, 1847 to 1852, and then A House Dividing, 1852 to 1857. So this is basically the antebellum part of the series. And this is the great part, is these were used books, but this is like a brand new book. It's still got the plastic and everything on it. So it's a 2-volume set, and honestly, I cannot remember when this one was printed, but like I said, it's from Collier Books. I'll have to look. I also got Volume 3, Ordeal of the Union, and this one has this is the first part of the Civil War section of the series. The Improvised War, 1861 to 1862, and then the War Becomes Revolution, 1862 to 1863. And so, and then also this new reprinting has an introduction by James McPherson, which, if you follow the channel, you know I really love him. He's a good storyteller, good writer. The original series was from the 1950s, and this particular book was printed in, looks like 1992, if I'm reading this correct. But anyway, they're in really good shape. This one's got a, it got, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It got kind of dinged up on that very end, but other than that, it's in really good shape. It's got sharp edges to the pages and everything. I haven't seen any writing in it. I haven't thoroughly went through it, but real excited to have these. and they're gonna sit. I've already got a space cleared out. They're gonna sit right on the shelf with my Shelby Foote series. So thank you, BookTube, for the recommendation. And then the other one that I got on Friday was the new John Grisham book, A Time for Mercy. And look at that cover, isn't that beautiful? And so I'm real excited for this. Now I'm going to practice a little bit of patience because I was asked to do a book review on all three of the Jake Bridges books all at once. And earlier this year I read A Time to Kill again. And so right now I'm reading Sycamore Row, and then I'll get to A Time for Mercy, and I'll just do a Jake Bridges book review on all three books. And so anyway, here's the inside cover, what we have about the story. Clanton, Mississippi, 1990. Jake Bridges finds himself embroiled in a deeply divisive trial when the court appoints him attorney for Drew Gamble, a timid 16-year-old boy accused of murdering a local deputy. Many in Clanton want a swift trial and the death penalty, but Bridges digs in and discovers that there is more to the story than meets the eye. Jake's fierce commitment to saving Drew from the gas chamber puts his career, his financial security, and the safety of his family on the line. In what may be the most personal and accomplished legal thriller of John Grisham's storied career, we deepen our acquaintance with the iconic southern town of Clanton and the vivid cast of characters that so many readers know and cherish. The result is a richly rewarding novel that is both timely and timeless, full of wit, drama, and most of all, heart. Bursting with all of the courthouse scheming, small-town intrigue, and stunning plot twists that have become the hallmarks of the master of the legal thriller, A Time for Mercy is John Grisham's most powerful courtroom drama yet. There is a time to kill and a time for justice. Now comes a time for mercy. And so, like I said, I'm real excited. This one came out on my birthday, October 13th, and so I've got the new Grisham. I still have all of the legal thrillers, the fiction stuff from him. I'm missing a couple in the collection up there on the middle school, the middle grades. There's 3 of them from the middle grade series that he did. But I have all of the adult books, and so I'm real excited for that. And I thank my family, thank my wife and my kids and my sister-in-laws and my mother-in-law, everybody that gave me birthday money. Anyway, they know how much I love to read, and they know how much it means to me to get books. I know that not everybody understands that, but BookTube, you guys understand that. And so anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I got a few more to come. Hopefully in the next day or two, I'll get the other 3 books I ordered, and I'll show you those when I get them. So BookTube, thank you for watching, and I hope everyone has a great day. Bye.